Thank you for joining the webinar. We will be starting in 1 minute's time. Thank you for joining the webinar. We will be starting in 1 minute's time. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are joining us today from around the world. Welcome to this Helio Lending webinar focused on the real estate sector. Cryptocurrency and real estate really were made for each other, and our panelists will cover off today, amongst other things, why cryptocurrency is playing such an important role in the sector. If you are joining us today from outside the real estate industry, don't worry. The team will explain how holding cryptocurrency can very easily be used for raising finance. Before I introduce our panelists, could I firstly make some noteworthy points? You may have noticed all attendees are muted. If you have a question, which we will come to during the Q&A section, please type this into the chat area at the bottom of the Zoom screen. I will be putting a selection of your questions to our panelists once our three experts have had an opportunity to talk about the current trends in the market and how the use of cryptocurrency is changing. I do have some questions submitted to me via email already, so I may go to those initially. If you are a shareholder, please note no shareholder questions will be tabled today or answered on today's webinar. On this webinar, I will firstly come to John O'Shea, CEO of Helio Lending, for his opening remarks and comments. And then John will ask both Natalia and Danijella for their expert opinions as they discuss important topics for this sector. Finally, before we start proper, Helio Lending would like to offer a special promotion to today's webinar attendees. The first 3 attendees who apply for a crypto loan above $100,000 will get an interest-free loan for the first 3 months of the loan term. Now those points have been covered, let me introduce your 3 panelists today. First up is John O'Shea, founder, president, and CEO of Helio Lending, a leading CEFI aggregator. John is also chairman of CYIO, a OTC markets listed company. He'll be joined by Natalia Karayaneva, who is the CEO and founder at Propy. Prior to this, she was the managing owner at MP Group Ltd. Natalia has over 12 years of experience in real estate development. She has a master's degree in sustainable urban development from Oxford University and founded her first company at 19. Excellent. We're also delighted to welcome Danijella Dragas, who for the last 13 years has been the president and CEO of the Lending Corporation. Danijella was one of the original team members that introduced Bear Stearns mortgages to the residential wholesale market. That is me now done with the formalities. John, I hand the baton over to you to kick us off.
Thanks, Ian. My name is John O'Shea, CEO of Helio Lending and chairman of Sires Corp. Helio Lending has got a very, very unique product and offering, and that is that we have become an aggregator of crypto loans in the market. So we are there for choice, whether you're taking a loan or wishing to do a deposit. we believe that offering these choices is really important because under our panel, for an example, someone like Salt, who's a very, very established lender, if you go to them, you only get their choice. With us, we have Salt plus another 7 other different variations of loans. So we can really cater those loans to the market. And the market is very immature at the moment. And so everyone has different loans, different types of requirements. And so we believe the aggregator model really gives that choice to the clients. But enough about Helio. What's probably more important is getting the experts that we've got. And I feel like I'm sort of the thorn between two beautiful roses. Natalia and Danijella, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd really like to throw over to you. So Natalia, maybe if you give us a little bit of background on your experience with clients that have practically taken out loans and how that's worked within real estate.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today here. Nice to meet you, Danijella, and John, Jan, thank you so much for having me today. I'm the founder of Propy, and I've been working in real estate for many, many years. I'm very excited to unite the blockchain infrastructure to the real estate. What my company has been doing is to facilitate transactions on smart contracts on blockchain so that we do traditional residential deals more secure and faster. But then on top of traditional deals with traditional mortgage involved, we also do transactions with payment in cryptocurrencies. So we did a number of transactions in Bitcoin, Ether, and other coins. So I'd be happy to share today how those have been done and how also we're moving to selling properties as NFTs, which of course unlocks this whole new space of using homes as a collateral.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Danijella, thanks for joining us. Apology for a little bit of technical issues there. Could you tell us some of your background and your experience with crypto and lending and where you see it may fit within the lending market?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So, 36 years ago, I started out in this space in real estate lending internationally. And I've seen many of the residential and commercial clients looking to purchase, looking for a different avenue from traditional lending, which is cumbersome and, document consuming. So with the onset of blockchain and the secure payments and how that has now become a mainstay in most households, understand what this means to some degree, it allows the borrowers, as we know, not to have to sell their crypto, their currencies, and they're secure against real estate. And I'm loving the way that old banking is transitioning into new technology under the real estate space.
Do we have any feeling or any experience in having the two assets working so that the asset of crypto, whether it be BTC, Ripple, Ethereum, and having that as a growth asset and taking that asset and then putting into something which is probably a little bit more conservative, being property? What's your feeling about that and how does that sort of resonate?
I think that this is and will be an absolute groundbreaking for the industry of meshing again the banking systems that's really propelling itself through the blockchain technology, and then bringing in the old real estate way of doing things. And the consumers are going to like the speed of the underwriting, I believe, and also the security of putting it through the blockchain and not having to liquidate that ever-growing asset and be able to leverage against it. I think it's going to mesh absolutely beautifully, and super excited to be here right at the forefront.
And Natalia, you've got really practical experiences with this. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let's see at the macro picture here. Real estate is uniquely positioned to be a part of the DeFi space. Why? Why are real property NFTs and not personal property NFTs is the next logical step after those intellectual property NFTs, like we see now, all those creative art NFTs. Why are those currently enjoying a range? The answer is simple. Unlike movable personal property, real property does not require physical custody during trades, as it's immovable, right? And It cannot be removed by thieves. This is in a sense similar to intellectual property, to all those arts that we're seeing, which also doesn't require physical custody and warehousing facilities, unlike property, personal property, such as tangible goods, which do. Thus, as we're building this more legal infrastructure to encapsulate the ownership of real estate into NFT, once we do it, and in fact, my company has a lot of progress on that. Once we do it, it's just logical that besides that you can use Ether and Bitcoin as a collateral and borrow against your own Bitcoin and your own Ether, you will also be able to borrow against your home or against a partial equity of your home. So that's the future. Right. It's incredible and it's happening.
Right. So there's going to be a lot of people that probably don't understand NFTs and crypto, and there's going to be different people and different journeys, and some are going to be more sophisticated in that. So they're sitting there going, well, that sounds all great, but how do I do it? So you've got a very good basis with education and training. And can you give us a little bit of an understanding of how you take that, whether it's a real estate agent or in turn the purchaser, through that journey, which I think is important?
Sure. So let's say you are a homeowner. You put your home into NFT with the help of platforms and products like Propy. And I'm sure there will be many other involving, and I would be happy to hear also what Danijella has to add to that. So let's say you're able, like right now, you can put your art into NFT in a number of platforms. Very, very soon, in upcoming months, you'll be able to put your home ownership into NFT. You can put small portion of it or the entire property into the NFT. Once you have it encapsulated in the NFT, then lending platforms like those that you're working with, John, already, and Danijella, you'll be able to just have this as a collateral and borrow against this NFT. Does it make sense?
Yes. And Danijella, what are your thoughts on that?
Exactly, she's explained it absolutely perfectly. I mean, we're only months away to be able to do this and to be able to borrow fully or portionally against that asset in a very secured NFT and do it internationally, which the consumers really should appreciate, that movability with that security.
So there's going to be a fair bit of education required. There's going to be a fair bit of hand-holding to get this explained. Is that something that you're comfortable being able to take the client through that journey?
Absolutely. It's an actual pleasure. Absolutely. It's always a learning curve in any new technology or any business, and absolutely be able to do so. Yes.
And what about the different terms, Natalia, that you're seeing in the contract, say with the lenders out there? Are you having any difficulties with explaining some of that terminology to the individual?
Yeah, in terms of terms, I think that the crypto-enabled lending will offer better terms. If you're talking about like the terms and percentage, I think yep. It will offer better rates than currently bankers and traditional lenders are doing, and they will have to catch up. I still cannot talk about the precise percentage, and right now HELOC instruments are still high. If we compare to the low interest rates on mortgages, which are very, very low, that's not the case with HELOCs.
No, but there's also different structures. So there's different requirements to do this process. Sometimes it can be very, very fast without credit checks. There's different terms and there's different use of your funds. And so the traditional lending, which if you go into a home loan, you can really only use those funds for the home loan. If you renovate a house, it's for the renovation of the house and so forth. With the crypto lending, you have a lot more flexibility. Do you want to sort of talk about that you're not beholden to the underwriter and the traditional lending processes?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, we still need to be very careful with the regulation, because even though the NFT is a crypto NFT and it's a crypto collateral and we borrow against this NFT, still the underlying asset is real estate. And so we should be careful, and very often in the future, I see that regulators will apply the same rules. So we entrepreneurs, inventors will have to be careful, but there will be a number of experiments, and I'm sure that it will be, first of all, lending against a home through NFTs will be faster. For sure, it will be faster. It will have lower rates. Then there is still an issue with appraisal. So we'll have to do appraisals, and it won't be like, you know, people who cannot sell their homes for some reason, they may think that it's a good opportunity. They may have some premium and so on. That's not the case. The market is very smart. Definitely you'll be able to borrow against a fair price, and it would probably be lower than even what we, how we value Bitcoin and Ether. Right.
The compliance discussion that you sort of were tapping into, I think is really, really important, where almost we're self-regulating to a degree. I come from a financial services background, so I really do understand the compliance. Do you see that as an industry that we have to really take the client and make sure that they fully understand it and they're fully protected, even though that in some circumstances we don't have to go to the full length as a normal financial institution? What are your thoughts there? Or will there be a middle ground that we'll all make?
I think we do need to experiment with some freedom, but also we need to be careful not breaking laws and not to make more enemies in the regulation space than the crypto space already has. But I think Danijella wants to add something.
Yeah,
I did, and I think that it's just step into something and do it carefully and do it with, you know, the future in our forefront, not only for the regulators, for the banks. We all want to be friends and make sure our borrowers totally understand what we're doing. Is the way to secure this becoming more mainstream and more accepted, and people get their arms around the technology. The appraisal situation is not, I believe, ever really going to go away, because that's what we're really ultimately lending on. But being able to use, again, that cryptocurrency and not have our clients liquidate that portfolio, so it's still earning interest, and secure properties against it. It's going to marry those two very old and very new technologies together. And there's nothing more important for me personally is a person getting into a home and the satisfaction of their first home or a refinance or buying a bigger home and seeing them grow and being able to, again, secure their finances while their property, the real estate portfolio grows. It's always been a passion of mine, and to educate people into the new century with this fantastic currency and the technology behind, again, blockchain made it all possible. I'm very pleased to be able to be in this team and be able to move along nicely and make sure it's all regulated fully.
With the market at the moment, which is very, very hot, we've come out of, you know, pandemic. Some people are still well in the pandemic. The tightening up of monetary policy, funding and so forth, does that open up an avenue for people that may not be able to go through the traditional lending facilities because of the way in which it's governed and regulated, that this opens up an opportunity for them?
It does.
I think for sure, yeah.
It
for
does.
Sure,
Go ahead. Sorry, Natalia.
Go ahead. Well, I just wanted to add that overall, this new vehicle will open up the home equity to be more liquid in the United States. Since the late 80s, home equity loans and home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, are popular loans, but still many people don't know about those credit lines. And they are secured by a borrower's home, so it's very secure. Also, someone just asked in the chat, like, how do you match the NFT value to the home value? they are directly correlated. If there is a demand for a home, like right now, there is a scarce of the supply, there is a demand for homes. So the value is absolutely driven by the real estate market, not the crypto market, by the real estate market. So I think it's a very safe, secure, healthy vehicle that will bring more capital, crypto capital, not only institutional money, not only banks, but crypto capital to this new trading machine that is healthy. It's backed by real estate.
Yeah, yeah. Ian, I believe, has some questions that he'd like to raise from our guests, so I might just hand it back to you, Ian.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And thank you, Natalia, for looking at the chat. Well done, you, for answering.
Just got used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so John, I'm going to come to this one first because I think this is the most pertinent for you as CEO of Helio. So as a crypto holder in America, I know of the majority of the crypto lenders, and this comes from Joshua. Yeah, I'm going to paraphrase, I've never heard anything about Helio Lending. How do you plan on changing that, getting new active users?
Well, I guess there's lots of brands out there that people haven't heard of, and yet they're very successful companies. And yeah, we have a big social media presence. We're currently working with some really good marketing people. We are a small and boutique offering. We have customer service. So unlike some of our major partners, which are really just software driven, and so therefore the whole application is done online and you don't get to speak to someone, we're a little bit more personalized than that. And so you actually get to physically speak to somebody. We hold your hand through that process. So yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot more about Helio Lending.
Okay, super. This comes from Evgeny. Would it be possible to have a couple of different coins, for example, BTC, ETH, as collateral for a loan, and then have Helio rebalance them periodically on the back end?
Yeah, look, it's possible to use a large number of loans, and each loan would then be done individually, and so you wouldn't co-collateralize the two coins together. You just do two individual loans, but you can do that with the same underwriter, and they would marry up and look pretty much the same anyway. So yeah.
And from Jeremy, is your loan amount based on how much your crypto account is worth, or do you put a future value on the current account? If my portfolio, for example, is say 50K, $50,000, what is the value of loan I can receive, and how does pullbacks affect current loan amounts?
Right, so really good questions. This is a very liquid product, and so if you have $50,000 worth of BTC, then it is that value at that particular time, and a price is striked. If you were then to borrow, let's say 50% of that, then you would be receiving $25,000 in cash in your account, which is done very seamlessly and very quickly. As that BTC moves up and down, it would have to drop to 50% for us to be able to do a margin call, which means you would either have to top up or you walk away. And so that's your choice at that particular time. If BTC goes up in value, then you can borrow more, or in turn use that BTC to pay off your loan. So it's quite flexible.
Perfect, thank you, John. I think this is for everybody, potentially. How can you legally assure perfection of interest in property, either a house or equity in the house? Can you do it cross-border via blockchain?
Natalia?
Yeah, sure. First of all, yes, you can do it cross-border. Danielle, do you want to cover the first part and then I can add?
I was just going to say, yes, you can cover the first border, correct. So Natalia was going right in that right direction. If that answers that question, yes, you can.
And then I think it had, what was the beginning of the question?
How can you legally assure perfection of interest in property, either a house or equity in the house?
Yeah, so this is done through a very creative paperwork. right now in my company, we're rolling out for US-based real estate assets. And it's a very secure protocol, mostly secured not only by blockchain, but actually the paperwork, the legal documentation set that we made, which makes it secure both for the homeowner and for those who will participate in either buying equity or buying a piece of the property as an NFT, and for the borrower as well. So if this house is collateralized and the borrower needs to exit, it's a fair price, market price, so that the whole lending vehicle works perfectly for all sides.
Right.
Excellent, thank you.
The timestamp.
Okay, sorry. Danijella, did you want to add something?
I've just added that on the security side, the documentation is all perfectly blockchain time-stamped for that added security of ownership and exit.
So do you want to explain a little bit what that actually means for those that probably don't understand? So how the blockchain's holding that security in the documentation and it's
Myself? Absolutely. So when you're gaining title or ownership of a property with the blockchain technology, the documentation is literally time-stamped and then locked inside that blockchain chain, so it cannot be altered or interfered or plagiarized, and that gives you that additional security, which has made this whole industry move on so quickly, not only for payments through blockchain, there's the time stamping, there's talk of title also going on to the Ethereum where the contracts will be. So this will make this whole industry exceptionally secure, away from the plagiarism or fraud activity for accessing and exiting of your asset and your real estate. Hope
or
that
even
answers that question.
just even human error. You know, the properties that I've transferred.
Correct.
You go to the lawyer gets the assistant, they run down and they get things stamped and they go to the bank, and there's all, this is all being done very manually. What you're saying is that this is all done electronically, but it can't be changed. So if there's been a renovation in the house, that'll all have to go into that blockchain process and documented.
Correct.
Right.
And I just wanted to add that it's not just a concept and utopian dreams. It's been happening for years now. The first blockchain transactions of real estate have been happening since 2017 across borders in the United States, Europe, Japan, and other countries. Conveyance on smart contracts have been happening as well in the US. On our end, we have thousands of transactions recorded on the blockchain already. So it's just an organic step in the development that the industry is further moving, not just recording and executing of real estate deals on smart contracts, but then the next step is NFT encapsulating of ownership rights, and then of course lending in DeFi space.
Correct. Yeah, fantastic.
Perfect. John, does Helio Lending have any plans, this is from James, to make their own Helio crypto coin to possibly use for Helio's lending process through the blockchain or any other?
Look, we're exploring a number of options at the moment, and yeah, we haven't made a decision on it. We see the value proposition in having a coin. We see what that can offer, and yeah, we are looking at that, but we haven't yet made a decision on whether we will proceed with that as it currently sits.
Okay, perfect. Another question: what is the maximum LTV?
That varies from loan provider. The maximum is probably 75 that I've seen. We don't recommend going that high. This is a volatile market, and that can really cause some angst. The majority of loans are probably down around the 60 to 50% mark.
Okay, thank you. And can I use different crypto as collateral or only BTC?
Again, depending on the lender, and this is why we have the choice model, some will only accept a very limited number of coins, a BTC, Ethereum, and Lite. Others will have a quite an in-depth list. And then we have a couple of providers that if you come to us, then we can give you a choice of actually putting that forward to the provider, and they'll do an evaluation on it. So it varies depending on who's the underwriter.
Okay. Danijella, did you want to add anything there? You look like you might want to say something.
I was actually, listening to John intently and agreeing with it, the maximum being about 70, 75, although realistically, depending on what kind of a crypto, it is going to be in the 50, 55 range. And you really want to be, at that level for safety for both sides, lender and consumer as well. So don't get those swings. So I was agreeing with John, but also listening very attentively to where his head is going with his company.
Fantastic. John, this is crystal ball time. From Mike, will Helio capture at least 10% of the crypto loan market?
Again, that's a crystal ball that I wouldn't want to speculate on. So it's difficult. We've got some really exciting opportunities happening within the company. We've got some great growth strategies. We've got some fantastic partners as we've got here. So yeah, we're going to be doing things, but whether it's 10% or 1%, I have no idea.
Great. Are there any other fees other than interest?
Currently, the contracts all state that they can have extra fees, but at the moment it's really interest. And if you put that interest in consideration of growth of, let's say, BTC over the last 5 years, the interest is really insurmountable. But obviously that does not mean that that's going to happen into the future. So it is something to consider. Interest rates are probably in the market between 4 and 12%. If the market is got a lot of growth in it and funds become tighter, then I have seen, lenders go up to 18%. But in average, it's between 4 and 10%.
Okay. As we all know, this marketplace is very, very volatile. So what happens if my crypto drops in price?
So again, and as been said, it depends on what your borrowing amount is. So in the event that you borrow 50% or 60% of the capital, then it would have to drop that much before you would either get a margin call, which is a friendly email or communication of your choice to say, what would you like to do? Would you like to top up with some more cash? Would you like to top up with some more crypto? Or would you like to extinguish the agreement and walk away? And that would be a choice that you make on your own personal circumstances.
Okay. And finally, at my end, can I pay out a loan with crypto, US dollars, or both?
Yep, you can pay out the loan with a combination of that. Stablecoin, there is really a lot of flexibility. So you can pay a little bit in cash, a little bit in crypto. In fact, all the loans that I've had, I've allowed to run through, and I take a longer term view. Most crypto loans are very short. I take a 2 to 3 year horizon on my loans, and they've all paid themselves out, and I still retained 100% of the crypto after the loans have been paid out. So.
Okay, fantastic. I did say there'd be no shareholder type questions, but this just came in, and perhaps you can clarify. Will CYIO get a new ticker name under Helio, or will it stay as is?
Yeah, again, it's not appropriate for me to answer that question in this forum.
Okay, no worries. Helio and Propy, are there currently any offices in the US or future plans to open some in the future? That's from Jeremy.
If that's for Helio, we already have offices in the US. So yeah, and obviously partnering, but the world's very virtual at the moment. So we're all talking globally here. We're not, although I'm sitting in Australia and the girls are in the US, we have clients from all over the world, as I'm sure Natalia and Danijella would also have.
Yeah,
very much so. it's an international, no borders kind of concept, which is active. Yes.
Yeah. So Ian, I think that's probably a really good example of what the market's happening, how it's expanding and going. And I'd really like to thank the girls, Natalia and Danijella, for joining us. And I found it, I'm still excited by this space. I think we're a long way before we see mass adoption to this. It's a little bit like the dial-up with the internet. We're very early, and it's so exciting to have such, amazing talent to be leading the way. And I'm enthused by what I've heard. So I hope the guests have also enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much.
So,
That's
we hope so.
Yeah.
So Ian, I'm not sure if you wanted to just put up at the end there or mention that we're having, some offer for the guests if they would like to participate, letting us know when they come through, and obviously we can assist them with their loans or just general advice. Sometimes it's important that we educate the market. Yeah,
absolutely. One last question came in, John. It basically said, and I think you've answered this really with the last point in that this is global. Are you planning to expand into the Asian market? Well, you're kind of there already, actually, aren't you?
Yep, we're very close to Asia, although we're very restricted at the moment. So everything we do is through the computer, which I think's an exciting opportunity to allow us to speak to clients all over the world, and we do, whether it's on Telegram, Skype, webinars. We basically are open 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. So finally, if my colleague could show this on screen. Helio Lending would like to offer a special promotion today to webinar attendees. The first 3 attendees who apply for a crypto loan above $100,000 will get an interest-free loan the first 3 months of the loan term. There it is. So you can go directly to heliolending.com and register your interest. There's a number there. You can say you've attended the webinar, and that promotion will apply to you. Other than that, there's nothing further to say. So thank you so much to the panelists. Thank you, John. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.